If you have not been paying attention to WNBA news, you have missed some juicy stuff, okay? Because for the past couple weeks, it has just been like bomb after bomb of news, and it's a lot to digest. So today, for the sake of my mental and needing to talk about it, we are going to get into the top 10 things you have missed this W postseason. It's really 9, and the last 2 kind of flow into each other, but for the video, we're going to say it's 10, okay? Got it. Okay, starting off strong with A'ja Wilson. A'ja has done it again. Made WNBA history by becoming the first player to win MVP 4 times. Now, I cannot say enough about A'ja. One of my favorite players, genuinely the best player in the league right now, and I will always look at people sideways when they deny that fact or try to keep her out of the conversations, because not a lot of players can do what she does. She is the most consistent on both sides of the court, often takes control of both sides of the court, constantly putting up numbers. I think this season there are games far and few in between where she has been under 20 points, and she is just a team leader by definition. Let's look at some of the things that she's done this season specifically to get her that MVP award. She has led the league in points per game and rebounds per game, and let's not forget her record-breaking night back in August when she had 32 points, 20 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. The first player to do that in the WNBA. She has won Defensive Player of the Year 3 times now, and even though this one was we're not going to get into that. She has led her team to a 16-game winning streak and a 30-14 record. We all know that the Aces had a slow start to this season. It was bad. It was hard to picture them in the playoffs, let alone the finals, and A'ja has led them there every step of the way. Truly amazing. I mean, I think that she's deserving of this award, and I know at the beginning of the season, people had Fee as their #1, but for me, it has always been A'ja. So congratulations to her, and we are gonna move on because I'm fangirling and it's not pretty. All right, second thing. We have had quite a few coach firings this season. Coach Noel of the Seattle Storm, Sandy of the New York Liberty, and Coach Chris of the Dallas Wings. Now, as far as Sandy goes, from what I heard, I don't think it was like an actual firing. I think it was just like her contract didn't get renewed or something like that. But people are the most excited for Coach Chris, and personally, I'm not upset either. If you look at their season, it sucks. And I feel like it was a waste of time. They finished last in standings. It's a waste of players' potential and their talent, because if you look at a player like Paige, you know, Rookie of the Year, came in dominating the court already, had a 44-point game against the Sparks, the only player in the season to do that, by the way, and they still lost. And yes, you can put some of that blame on the players, but you have to split it with the coaching, because in comparison, let's look at Stephanie White, who has been playing since mid-season with bench and injured players and made it all the way to game 5 of the semifinals. Really, we're going point for point with the championship team and almost won that game 5. And literally almost her whole entire bench was injured or out the game. Then you look at Chris in his season, and it's just not like that. And as far as Stephanie White, it's a testament to her as a coach, the type of team chemistry that she's created. And, you know, also it's a testament to the players and how they not only rally around her, but rally around their teammates. As far as coach, all you see in terms of those players are you know, them making faces when he's talking, because he doesn't know what he's talking about. So, bye. If we do end up having a 2026 season, I know it's up in the air right now, but if we do, I'm excited to see what Dallas will do and who they'll bring in. I know a lot of fans want Angel to leave Chicago and go to Dallas so her and Paige can play together. I mean, you never know. So very excited for the future for Dallas. Moving on, 3 and 4 are kind of a double whammy. Game 3 of the semifinals between Minnesota Lynx and the Phoenix Mercury. We had the injury of Fee and the ejection of Cheryl Weave. So let's go ahead and get into that. Now, in quarter 4 of game 3, and I'll put the video here, we see AT make a basketball play that ends up injuring Fee yet again. Fee is running with the ball. AT cuts across to get that steal. They end up colliding, and Fee goes down in pain. AT continues going to the basket, makes that layup, and then on the sidelines, you see Cheryl just erupt into this big ball of anger, run onto the court. She had to have like 3-4 people holding her back. She gets ejected, is cussing fans out on the sidelines. Just a crazy game. As far as the whole was it a foul, I don't think that this was a foul on AT. I don't think that there's anything that either player could have done to avoid a collision. I think it's just an unfortunate consequence to actually a really good basketball play. Now, as far as Cheryl, totally valid crash out, because one, like I said, I don't think that specific play was a foul, but if you watch the game, AT was guarding Fee pretty heavily and it wasn't getting called. Fee was getting fouled and did not go to the free throw line once. So you have that. Then you have watching your star player go down with yet another ankle injury. In mid-season, Fee went down with an ankle injury that put a humongous dent in her MVP race, messed with her stats, and that is when Asia rose up in the rankings. So you're seeing that. Then you're watching the finals slip through your hand. So it's a lot of pent-up aggression, pent-up anger, and I think anybody would have crashed out at that moment. The nail in the coffin was Cheryl's post-game interview where she talks about the officiating and how bad it was.
You're hearing other coaches, you're hearing Becky talk about when you let the physicality happen, people get hurt, there's fights, and this is the look that our league wants for some reason. And so if this is what our league wants, okay. But I want to call for a change of leadership at the league level when it comes to officiating. It's bad for the game.
Kathy hits her with a fine and a suspension, kind of to make an example out of her. I think that it was stupid. I think that the fine was more than enough, because not only was it the biggest fine in W history at $15,000, it just shows that Kathy in the front office can't take any type of criticism, because the officiating does suck, and everybody has said it since the beginning of time. It's unanimous that in the W, reffing sucks. I mean, winning teams have talked about how bad the reffing was. So my question is, why are we penalizing coaches and players and giving them fines when it's your refs that suck, when it's your refs that aren't doing their job correctly? Stupid on Kathy's part, but I can't count high enough how much stupid things Kathy has done, especially when we get into, you know, later on in the video where we talk about the whole Fee versus Kathy thing. But yeah, totally valid crash out. Fine would have been more than enough. Let's go ahead and move on. Now, speaking of semifinals, we have to talk about Game 5 between Las Vegas and Indiana. No matter how I feel about a few of the Indiana players, I cannot hate or deny the fact that this is the most perfect underdog story in the W. I mean, literally just amazing on their part, and there's not enough good things that I can say about them, because they played with heart. They played hard. You could tell that they wanted it. No matter how many of their players went down, they were going to try their hardest. But then on the Aces side, it's just disappointing, because you have Olympians on your team, you have a 4-time MVP winner on your team, and you cannot beat bench players. You're getting cooked by Odyssey Sims and Shea Petty. Insane work. Now, this game was so like, I even had heart palpitations. That's how stressful it was. These teams were literally going point for point. The biggest lead didn't come until OT, when Chelsea Gray made all those clutch shots, because 8 of her 17 points were in OT. But throughout the whole entire game, it was literally just shot for shot for shot for shot. and you genuinely never know which way the pendulum was gonna swing. I was praying and hoping, obviously, that they beat out Indiana. I could not take another game of the bench mob. The viral, yet annoying and frustrating bench mob that was injured on the sidelines but still managed to make headlines. The trio of Chloe Bibby, Caitlin Clark, and Sophie Cunningham sat on the sidelines and kind of made it their mission to terrorize the refs. It was funny at first, but then it kind of turned just classless, disrespectful, annoying behavior from these three professional basketball players that were throwing tantrums like they were 5 years old. And then you have the racist picture that Chloe Bibby posted where, you know, it depicts the security guard in a derogatory way, I feel like in a derogatory way, and got called out for it and made some crappy excuse about how she wasn't educated or whatever. You are a grown woman and you have lived in, I think it's Mississippi. There's no way that you are that uncultured and that uneducated. There's no way. I feel like at a certain point, some things are common sense. And before I get into my next point, because I know a lot of people are going to get on my head, I may not like the Indiana Fever as a collective, but there are a lot of players that I do like on that team. I love Kelsey Mitchell. Love Sydney Colson. I cannot get enough of Sydney Colson. I like Lexi. I like Caitlin Clark. But as a collective, their personality sucks. And that leads me into my next point, which I know a lot of people are going to get upset at. I couldn't care less. Sophie Cunningham is who the Indiana Fever fans try so hard to paint Angel Reese to be.
Facts.
Angel gets called egotistical, too confident or cocky, violent, a thug, all those other derogatory derivatives. But the last time I checked, Angel has never been disrespectful to a ref. Angel has never walked herself on the court to argue with refs. Angel has never got into a fist fight on the court and fought another player during gameplay. Sophie Cunningham has, and we didn't hear a word about that. In fact, Sophie Cunningham was praised. Sophie Cunningham's one of them ones. Sophie Cunningham's a dog. She's just protecting her teammate. God forbid Angel ever put her hands on another teammate like that. They would have been calling for her head, begging her to be kicked out the W, forbidden from ever touching a basketball again. So why was Sophie Cunningham praised? I think we all know why. But if I say it, oh, you're bringing race into everything. Going a step further, when Angel created her podcast, everybody was like, she's not focused on basketball. She's doing too much. She just wants to talk. Sophie Cunningham started her podcast and everybody was like, oh, it's just, you know, another form of income. She just wants to, you know, talk about the W. Why the switch up? It has everything to do with the type of character that they show. But anyways, I'm done with my rant. We're not going to get into it anymore. I want to move on to the biggest news that has come out the WNBA and just put a huge spotlight on the league and the front office, specifically Kathy. Now, in her exit interview, Napheesa Collier decides to make a statement about Kathy and the way that the league is run. And personally for me, I feel like the fact that we've had this statement come out just kind of signifies how bad I feel like negotiations are going, because I don't feel like Fee would just do this out of nowhere. I think combined with, you know, the ejection and the suspension of her coach and just the way that maybe talks have been going, she decided to do this. It really, really looks bad for Kathy. I'm just gonna play a little clip of it right here.
The real threat to our league isn't money, it isn't ratings, or even missed calls, or even physical play. It's the lack of accountability from the league office. Whether the league cares about the health of the players is one thing, but to also not care about the product we put on the floor is truly self-sabotage. At Unrivaled this past February, I sat across from Kathy and asked how she planned to address the officiating issues in our league. Her response was, well, only the losers complain about the refs. I also asked how she planned to fix the fact that players like Caitlin, Angel, and Paige, who are clearly driving massive revenue for the league, are making so little for their first 4 years. Her response was, Caitlin should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court, because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. And in that same conversation, she told me players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal that I got them.
Well, after that came out, Kathy put out her own statement, and it says, I have the utmost respect for Nafisa Collier and for all the players in the W. We're going to skip. I am disheartened by how Nafisa characterized our conversations and league leadership, but even when our perspectives differ, my commitment to the players and to this work will not waver. Now, before game 1, Kathy makes another statement, and Malika Andrews decides to ask Kathy specifically about her statements regarding Caitlin Clark and the other players, and how Fee basically about what Fee said that she said. And for me, it kind of verified that Kathy did make these statements, because all you see Kathy do is dance around the question, say a whole bunch of nothing, really just put out like, oh, I'm a mom, stop being mean to me, my kids are sad that you guys are being mean to me, stuff like that, and then proceeded to call Fee a liar. So what does Fee do? Fee decides to cancel her meeting that she was supposed to have with Kathy and say that their relationship is beyond repair. Now, with all this going on, it just makes me wonder how the negotiations are going on, because you have the two people kind of in charge. I want to say going at each other's throats, but they're obviously at odds. As far as the CBA, and I am going to make a video on this before, I don't really want to talk about it because I like to research, and I hate people who just talk out the side of their neck and they know nothing of what they're talking about. So I'm going to research it a little more before I decide to speak on it in depth. But this doesn't look good for negotiations, and it's why I think that we may not be getting a 2026 season, because if it's beyond repair, then how are we going to come to a compromise and a standpoint? And I hate the fact that people are trying to get on Fee for this, because she is being an advocate for all the players, and yet you guys, because of the twisted way that you think, assume that Fee is trying to destroy relationships so that Unrivaled takes over the W. Why are we destroying Fee's character when all she's trying to do is get the players where they want to be? At the end of the day, I don't know what's gonna happen. There's still a couple more weeks until October 31st when the deadline is, and you know, I am praying and hoping that they do something, they come to some type of compromise so that we can get that 2026 season. These players do deserve what they're asking for, and I really don't think they're asking for a lot, because at this moment in time, this is just a huge opportunity for the league. It has spiked in popularity almost instantaneously. You have Caitlin Clark coming in, who brought so many fans with her. Angel Reese brought fans with her. Paige Becker's brought fans with her. Then we're going to have this new rookie class coming in. Then you have the next rookie class coming in. You have all these household names that are still in college, like Juju, for example. I feel like the biggest college basketball star right now, and she's going to be coming in the W in a couple of years. And if they cannot come to agreement, all that is gonna go away. They're gonna lose this momentum. So I feel like they really need to get it together and do something, because I love me some women's basketball, and you know, I don't want it to end. But at the same time, you know, we do have Unrivaled, Athletes Unlimited, you have overseas ball, you have college hoops, you have a lot to kind of hold you over. But, you know, the W is where everybody's trying to get. Obviously, it's the best professional league in the United States. So here's to hoping and praying that it gets done and we don't have a 2026 season lockout. Anyways, that's what you guys have missed if you haven't been paying attention. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe for more, and I will see you guys next time.